Now, before we get into the video, if you want to join a group of like-minded individuals and people who are serious about making money in crypto, then join the private group. Now, the results speak for itself. In the last 2 years, we've made hundreds and hundreds of X's on long-term investments. Now, if you miss AGI and AI tech, then do not miss my two new calls in the private group. Now, these ones have some crazy backers and some serious potential, but I also have a free Telegram group that you can also join. All the links are in the description. Now, the first project on the list is AGI. Now, I've spoken about this project multiple times. If you was bagging this up, for the last 2 weeks to a month, you would have been up ultimately around 2x right now. Because this project is extremely, heavily funded and heavily backed, it's backed by Google and Microsoft, and it's heavily funded, we could potentially see this on a tier 1 exchange very soon, because Binance put out a poll on which projects they want to be listed next, and AGI did win that vote, so we could potentially see this on Binance. Now, in terms of its key features, it covers the AI sector and the gaming sector, and it has a unique features within both. So on the AI side, for example, let's say you're new to crypto, you're retail, you don't know how to use a DEX. They have a tool called Lucy, which can carry out transactions within seconds. So let's say I want to buy $100 worth of AGI. I type that into Lucy, and Lucy will carry out this transaction for me within seconds. Now, when it comes to gaming, the most important aspect is the fact that you can play the game and earn money. Now, AGI actually takes this to a next level, because you have these NPCs who have their own sovereignty within the game. So ultimately, they live within the game as if they're humans. So even if you're not playing the game, your NPCs will carry out tasks and still generate you income. So you don't even have to play the game and you can still earn money. Unlike most other Web3 gaming projects, you have to play in order to earn. AGI actually takes a step forward and implements a system where your NPCs can generate your income without you even have to be on the game 24 hours. Now, when this first launched, there was a lot of FUD regarding, they had a weird system where, in order to access the white paper, you had to play this weird game, which threw a lot of people off. Now, if you was following the project like I was, you would have known that at some point, I think it was August, September times, they made a complete switch from gaming into AI. And that's why when gaming was going parabolic during these times, this didn't really pump. So ultimately, you don't want to be, kind of focusing on the current narrative, because during these times, gaming was going parabolic. The smart people would try to front run the next narrative. So, my community, my private community, and I was bagging this up for multiple months, around these regions, all the way to around here. And before we had that parabolic run, and we ended up making over 40x, and we accumulated large bags, and we ended up making a shit ton of money. And this is what you want to do in crypto. You don't want to be, trying to catch these low cap AI coins when gaming's pumping. You want to, think ahead and try to catch the next narrative before it pumps. Now, the next token on the list is EMC. It's currently sitting on $23 million in market cap, and it can be traded on Mexi, Gay, Bitmart, Uniswap, and is built on Arbitrum, so the fees are ultimately low. Now, because this is a new project, ultimately we will have to look at the vesting schedule, as is the most important thing when you buy a new project. They launch, they pump, and then they eventually dump back down. Now, in terms of EMC, it offers a high performance, decentralized AI computing power application network to the world. Now, it introduces masses of real world GPU computing power into the Web3 world through smart contracts, constructing a distributed AI deepin ecosystem, and creating a first example of decentralized AI for the global AI community. Now, in terms of its use cases, it can actually be used for decentralized AI applications, blockchain games, storage, and more. Now, the total quantity of EMC is 1 billion, and this quantity is constantly decreasing under the dual deflationary model. So in everyday operations on the EMC network, actions such as developers token recharges, RWA actions or buybacks, buying and selling AI models on the AI trading market will continuously burn EMC tokens. Now, in terms of the vesting schedule, you can see that over 45% of the supply is focused on the reward system, which is bullish because it gives more people the incentive to actually use the projects and use the nodes to earn some of the tokens. And the more users they have, the more bullish it is because you can stake more. There's more chances of people using the ecosystem, and the VC, the team, their tokens are locked up for over is locked up for a year, and the treasuries as well. So around 40% of the supply is locked up for a year, and then there's linear release for till the end of the year. Apart from the team has to there's a little bit longer for the treasury and the team. Now the public sale has most likely already happened because the vesting and stuff is not in here. So I'm imagining they got the tokens on launch, and that's probably why we're seeing a dump. Now in terms of the actual project, it covers the AI narrative, the RWA narrative, and the DePIN narrative. And unlike most other gaming projects, the team is doxed. Unlike most other DePIN projects, the team is doxed. Most DePIN projects, they have a website with no team. This one's actually doxed, and they have quite a lot of experience, attending some of the top universities. Now, in terms of its ecosystem, whenever you buy a project, that's basically have smart contracts, you have to see if people are building on them. And you can see that on EMC, there is a bunch of different projects building on them, which is ultimately bullish because the more projects that are on there, the more transactions happen, and then the more EMC that gets burnt, and ultimately that will bring the price up. And then, the more transactions that happen, the more likely people will stake these tokens. And ultimately, it is very bullish that the more projects built on this project. Now, in terms of when would be the best time to buy, now I would personally wait maybe potentially another month before DCAing this project, just because, it's fairly new, and then, it will follow the market and it will eventually dump just like all new projects do. And I would probably DCA this under 50 cents. That would be a perfect DCA opportunity for this project. Now, I'm sure you guys are no stranger to this project. I've mentioned this on my channel plenty of times, and it is one of my most convicted plays. This is because it is backed by the European governments. As we know, 75% of Europe's GPU and CPU is outsourced, and they can only produce 25%. And AI Tech aims to solve this problem, through a database they have in Romania. They have a massive database as well as a very experienced docs team, and they do have a launchpad as well as having a deflationary tokenomics model. Now they constantly are burning. Now, just like AGI, when Binance did announce which projects to be listed next, AI Tech and AGI did win that vote, and these guys are heavily funded, so they can easily get on tier 1 exchanges in the bull run. And for that reason, I can see this doing extremely well. Now, in terms of mass adoption, if any project or any sector within the crypto space apart from gaming that can be implemented and mass adopted, it will have to be GPU, because we use GPU every day in our life from our computers, our phones, without even noticing. And to implement the crypto aspect into the real world wouldn't take much effort. And for that reason, if that happens, we can see this, in the tens of billions. If not, we can still see this, doing a 30 to 50x in this coming bull run. Now, the next project is Chirply. It's currently sitting on almost $9 million in market cap. You can buy this on Mexi, PancakeSwap, Uniswap. And ultimately, what it aims to do is it aims to help nano influencers market themselves through one click. Now, these guys are backed by Binance Labs in the sense where, they're working with the Binance team, and CZ follows them on Twitter. So ultimately, we could potentially see this on Binance, as Binance have stated that they're looking for more low cap projects. And, it is a niche project. However, it does cover the AI marketing aspect, which is quite unique in the crypto space. There isn't much AI marketing tools. And so therefore, this is more or less like a monopoly within the crypto space. And their goals, their partnerships, in the last 2 to 3 months, they've been marketing themselves extremely well. They managed to form a partnership with Google, Microsoft, Nvidia startups, which is ultimately very bullish, and are all back to back. They partner with a bunch of different projects, and ultimately, the more projects they have on the ecosystem, the more partnerships they have, the more eyes they get on the project, and ultimately, the more people will use the platform, and therefore leading, more people will stake the tokens, as that's what you have to do in order to access the actual project or product. So Chirply, they have a bunch of things planned. They've actually partnered with Warner Brothers and Sony Music recently. So they're making quite big moves, and they got a TikTok platform coming soon. They've just made the platform. They've just launched their brand new platform, and then eventually we will get an updated version of this, and then eventually we'll get the one-click marketing tool, and it has a very unique. In modern day society, a lot of young people want to become influencers. They want to become social media influencers, and ultimately they find it hard to actually get their name out there, and this is where Chirply can step in and actually help these people. Now the final project is Nai. Now I have made a video on this. If you want a precise breakdown of what this project does, check out that video. Now in terms of is would it be the best time to buy now? I would probably wait another month or two. I would say the best time to buy this project would be in August or September, as the vesting is really harsh right now. So there is no incentive to buy this right now when the early investors are up, 4 to 5 to 6 to 7x. And whenever they get their tokens every day, they will be constantly dumping. So for that reason, I would not be buying this project right now. I would wait till August or September to start buying this project. Now this is backed by Alex Becker, and it was pumped initially. That's why we've seen this massive wick over here. And then after that, when all the investors were up like 25, 26, 30x, they started dumping, on retail, which is why you don't want to get into projects extremely early, as the early investors are generally up a decent amount, and they will dump on you and they will make you become bag holders. So for this reason, you should never buy early projects. And then you have to check the vesting as well. That's one of the most important aspect, is checking the vesting. Now this project does aim to solve a real problem within AI, which is the data problem, and they are backed heavily by companies like IONET, GPUNet, Chainlink, and a bunch of other Web2 and Web3 institutions. Now this project's success does highly depend on it's the people that are actually using the project. So the more people they onboard, the more institutions they're on board, the Web3, Web2 companies they're on board, the more this project will be successful. And for that reason, they are working hard. The team is doxed. The team is very experienced. I can see this performing really well.